Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us on today's Bellator 200 media conference call. On today's call, we have Mirko, Roy Nelson, middleweight champion Rafael Carvalho, and Gegard Mousasi. If you'd like to ask a question to any of the fighters, please dial *1 on your telephone keypad. Again, it's *1 to queue up for questions. While you do that, a few notes just to get us started. Bellator 200, of course, takes place next Friday, May 25th, from the SSE Arena, Wembley in London. Doors for the event will open at 4:30 p.m. local time, with the first fights kicking off at 5:30 p.m. local time. For the first time ever, fans around the world will be able to view the preliminary bouts live and free on the Bellator app beginning at 12:30 p.m. Eastern time. The undercard is chock full of talent from England and around the world, featuring people like Anastasia Yankova versus Kate Jackson, Anatoly Tokov versus Vladimir Filipovic, and Costello Van Steenis. The main card will be televised in America on the Paramount Network beginning at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And at this time, we will go ahead and open it up for questions. So, operator, if you could, please go to the first question.
Our first question on the line comes from Stephen Morocco with MMA Junkie. Your line is live.
Hey, question for Krokop. Wondering when you found out about your fight with Nelson being a tournament alternate bout.
When did I find out?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Exact date or what?
Well, I mean, like, when did you find out that it wasn't just a fight with Roy? It was an actual tournament alternate bout for the Grand Prix.
Listen, I don't understand what you're trying to ask me.
Well, basically, from what I understand, your fight with Nelson isn't just a fight with Nelson. It's actually
it will be reserve boat of the tournament. That's right.
Right. So I'm wondering, did that change the stakes of the fight for you?
No, it didn't. Nothing. Nothing has been changed. I mean, this is just alternative. You know. So most likely there will be no need for reserve opponent for a tournament. You know, most likely 99%. But just in case, of course, when you have tournament system, you need to have reserve bouts. You know? And that's it.
But I assume it's your desire to get that spot if it becomes available.
Well, to tell you the truth, I don't think about it. You know, I don't. First of all, I don't think it will happen. Then the second thing, I'm just concentrating on my fight with Roy first.
Is that something you'd like to do in the future, though? I mean, do you feel like, you know, that this was something that you'd like to participate in?
Tournament.
Yeah, you've done several tournaments.
Yeah, I like tournaments. The tournament system, but basically this is not a tournament in a way that I'm used to fight in. You know, tournament for me is 3 fights in one night, or at least 2 fights in one night. But this is not going to be a case. You know, this will be just a single fight, per event, right?
Yeah, exactly. All right, thank you very much.
Welcome.
Our next question comes from the line of Steve Drawn with MMA Mania.
Thank you, operator. I have a question for everybody. I'll start with Big Country Roy Nelson. Do you feel that you have a tactical advantage given that you were dominant over him in the previous fight?
No, I think every heavyweight fight is different, especially the fact that happened years ago. I think Mirko's done really well for the last couple of years, so he's definitely improved. But, you know, as a fighter at heavyweights, you just go out there and you just fight and you just put on the show for the fans.
Very good. And for Mirko, is there any desire to avenge that loss, or are you just happy to be fighting in Bellator?
Well, of course, no, I'm not coming just to fight in Bellator. No, of course, I would like to revenge my loss against Roy, and that's the point of the fight, not just participating. Of course, every true fighter wants to win in the fight. So
very good.
Yeah.
All right. And for Gegard Mousasi, how do you feel your preparation has been for this middleweight title fight with Rafael Carvalho?
Training went well. It's a title fight, so it's more on the line, and I stepped up. I've done everything to win the belt, so I'm prepared. I think I'm more hungry. I believe he's a tough fighter, but our preparation was excellent. I don't want to jinx it, but I've never felt better. So yeah, I'm coming to fight.
Good to hear. And finally, for Mr. Carvalho, is Gegard Mousasi your toughest challenger to date?
Sim, é o meu maior desafio, não só por se tratar da edição do evento, mas pelo adversário, né?
This is our biggest challenge, not only for the other fighter, and also for the event, an historic edition for the event. So this is great for me.
Obrigado. Thank you, everyone.
Our next question comes from the line of Garrett Davies with Telegraph Media Group. Your line is live.
Thank you very much, operator. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Can I ask Mr. Carvalho, first of all, I have a question for everyone as well. Can I ask Mr. Carvalho as well, how much has he improved since being in Bellator? Obviously, he hasn't lost a fight since his very first fight of his career back in 2011. How much has Carvalho improved since he's been at Bellator for 4 years?
Eu acredito que eu melhorei 120%, né? Desde que eu entrei no Bellator.
I believe my improvement was 120% since I started in Bellator.
And could you just answer one question about Gegard Mousasi? Is he a more problematic opponent than you've had so far in the 4 defences of the Bellator title, or in your 4th defence now? Is he the toughest opponent problematically when you think of him? Hello? Hello?
Hi, can you repeat the question, please?
Yes. Does Gegard Mousasi present the most problems of his Bellator career?
Eu creio que ele é bastante confiante.
I believe his biggest problem is that he's so self-confident.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much. I will take that on then. Mr. Mousasi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, my friend.
So are you too confident going into your fights in general? I mean, you had a very tough fight against Flamenco. It was a very baptism of fire, if you like, in Bellator. But is he right? Are you too confident going into fights?
If you don't think you're gonna win, then you should do something else. And of course, I believe I'm gonna win. But no, I respect my opponents. I think highly of Carvalho, but of course I think I'm gonna win. Otherwise, why should I fight?
You're on a brilliant 6-fight winning streak at the moment, Gegard. And you never got your hands on the UFC belt. How important is it for you mentally and in your career to get that belt around your waist on May the 25th?
Very much. Like I said, I'm very hungry. It's for the belt. I've done everything right to win the belt. So, it's a fight. You go there, and then you never know. Sometimes you think you're going to have an easy fight. You have the toughest fight. Sometimes you have a tough opponent. You have an easy night. It's it's a fight. So I'm prepared for 5 rounds, wherever the fight goes, But the belt means a lot, yeah. So I'm 100% ready for this fight.
Many thanks, Gegard.
No problem.
If I could just ask Roy, what does it mean to you to come and fight in the UK? You've had a lot of fans here. A lot of British fans have wanted to see you here for a long time. What does it mean to you to come and fight in the UK and bring your beard, your belly, your own iconography to British MMA?
Anytime you can go showcase yourself to a new set of fans live is, I think, is a big thing. And then to go away with more fans is awesome. It's like going to Japan. It's like going to Abu Dhabi. Anytime I can go to another country and get more fans is always awesome. And I think it's good for Bellator.
I mean, you've got a massive resume now that's, that's pretty decorated, up and down. There's wins and losses, but you've pretty much fought a who's who in this extraordinary period of the heavyweight division. How highly do you rank that victory over Mirko, and how much would you really like to get the double over him?
Anytime you fight Mirko and Fedor and Big Nog are the legends of the heavyweight division. Those are the 3 guys that you want to definitely fight, and I'm just lucky enough to be able to fight Mirko twice. So for me to be able to get 2 wins would be awesome. It's like being able to fight Big Nog or fighting Fedor. Anytime you can fight a heavyweight legend in Mirko, that's always awesome.
And finally, for the legend himself, Mirko, good afternoon. Great to have you on. Could I ask you, you've had a brilliant time really since 2014. I remember watching you in glory against Jarrell Miller, and then since then you've been undefeated in mixed martial arts. What's been the secret of you going into your 40s but still staying hungry and still winning? Obviously in Rizin. How are you staying hungry and still winning?
Well, it makes me happy. That's the most simplest answer I can give it to you. It just makes me happy. Training, every day training. I train twice a day, and that's my life. It makes me happy. I like winning. And that's it, more or less. That's it, more or less.
Would you have been happy if you'd been asked to join the Bellator Heavyweight Grand Prix at the beginning? Would you have accepted?
Well, I didn't receive a call, and now there is no need to argue what will happen if happens, And but most likely I would, most likely I would if it happens. But at that time, I had some business obligation to Ryzen, and I don't know if it could be possible to do, but it didn't happen. So this is also good,
In 2015, you got your revenge over Gabriel Gonzaga. I came to interview you in Poland for BT Sport that day, and for the TV over here. And you got your revenge over Gabriel Gonzaga by the way he'd beaten you. Elbows and punches. Obviously, Roy stopped you in the 3rd round by punches. What can you tell Roy today? What are you promising him in London on May 25?
Nothing. There is nothing I have to promise. This is not that's not my style, promising anything. I'm in a very good shape, and I'm looking forward to fight. Roy is a great guy. Very tough fighter, great fighter, with iron chin, and I will have to do my best to beat him, and so we'll see what will happen in the fight.
Mirko, Roy, Gegard, and Mr. Carvalho, thank you very much indeed from the Telegraph Media Group. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next question comes from Damian Martin with MMAweekly.com. Your line is live.
Hey, guys. First question is for Mirko. Mirko, obviously you've retired and come back to the sport, and you're on a great winning streak, but what kind of goals do you have for the sport right now? Is it just to fight? Do you still want to be a champion? What kind of goals do you have for yourself right now?
right now I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I'm a professional fighter, and I enjoy fighting, and that's it. There is no need for further philosophy, and some higher philosophy. It makes me happy, I train every day. I travel around the world. I'm fighting all around the world. Last fight I had in Tokyo. Next one will be in London, and I feel great. It makes me happy.
Is that the easiest answer also when it comes to your future in terms of people saying, how many fights do you have left? I imagine you want to fight until you don't want to fight anymore. Is that pretty clear to say?
Yeah, it's hard to say. In this business, it's hard to say. I said a few times already, I'm done, and at the end of the day, I always decided to extend my career. I will just do it as long as it makes me happy, and as long as my health allows to fight. Understand? So it can be 1 or 2 fights. It can be 3. I don't know. It depends. There's a lot of injuries in this sport, so you never know. Especially in my age, I'm 43. But I feel so good. I feel so good right now. But
yeah, and you're rematching Roy Nelson right now, and I know as Gareth mentioned, you rematched an Avenger, lost to Gabriel Gonzaga. I know you've answered this question a million times, but I have to ask, because now you're in Bellator, is there still a desire to have that second fight with Fedor now that you guys are kind of in the same proximity again in Bellator?
Yeah, people are asking me all the time about that, but I don't think about Fedor right now. Believe me, I don't think, and I don't think that fight will happen.
Well, why is that?
I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't have some special desire to fight him anymore, like I had before.
Okay.
Never say never, but I don't think that fight will ever happen.
Okay. And a question for Roy. Roy, I know these legend fights are something you really get up for. Obviously you faced a lot of them. But were you okay with the rematch with Mirko? I mean, that's a guy you did face before, and you had a knockout over him. Did you prefer another fight, or were you happy to fight a legend like Cro Cop a second time versus maybe a first fight against somebody else?
No, I mean, anytime, lately I've been doing my rematches. I think the fight I was looking for was round number 4 for Matt Patreon. That's what I was looking for. And then when they called me and told me that I had Mirko, I'm like, and this is how I had to do to get back in it, I was like, let's do it. And then, just because I'm an old school guy and that's whatever you put in front of me, I'm going to fight.
And last question for you, Roy. I mean, more than anything, I'm sure you'd love to get the winner of the Bellator Heavyweight Grand Prix and all that, but is the Mitrione rematch the one that kind of sticks in your head the most if you had a perfect dream scenario after this fight?
Yeah, no, he's just a guy that, I'm actually, I really am disgusted with. So that's the guy I will actually really want to punch in the face. Everybody else, I just want to punch in the face because I get paid. Yeah, I just want to punch it. I'll punch it in the face for free.
Thanks, Roy. Appreciate it.
Our next question on the line comes from Dylan Boker with Liberty Media Multimedia.
Hey, everybody. I hope everyone's doing good today. My first question is for Mirko Cro Cop. I'm kind of curious about your situation going forward because your initial timeline was talking about how you wanted to fight the Ryzen heavyweight tournament winner in a farewell fight at the end of next year. But certain opponents in Bellator, like Chet Congo, for instance, could present a rematch for you. And, you're unbeaten in rematches up until this point. So if you get a big win in this fight with Roy here, are you interested in pursuing a multi-fight deal with Bellator and maybe reframing your retirement timeline potentially?
Well, I have just a single fight with Bellator, and right now I'm concentrating just on my fight with Roy Nelson. And yes, I'm planning to fight on the 31st December. There's a plan to have a farewell fight in Japan.
Okay, so that timeline wouldn't be affected at all then. That's kind of interesting then. So I'm sort of curious about this particular rematch because, like I said, unbeaten in rematches in your career, you're 6-0. But with this Roy Nelson fight, you had an injury a couple weeks out from the fight, and it resulted in a brief retirement period for you. So does this rematch take on special significance with Big Country?
Well, it's nothing about personal, about big country. I'm just interested to have a rematches with the fighters that the previous beat me. Like it happened with Gonzaga. Now I have a chance to fight again with Roy, and it makes me motivated. It makes me happy, and I will do my best. I will do my best to beat him.
Right on. I'm definitely looking forward to that fight. Also, though, I had a question for Gegard Mousasi. I mean, you find yourself in yet another Scott Coker promoted title fight. You're in a big London feature fight. A lot of possible fights going ahead with potentially Ryan Bader and Rory McDonald. I'm curious, do you feel like you're now getting the opportunities, the recognition, and the platform with Bellator that maybe your former promoters weren't affording you?
Yeah, fighting at Bellator 200. Now eventually fighting for the belt. I got pushed a lot. For me, it's also I feel obligated to deliver, and I'm ready. What can I say?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm kind of curious about what your ideal sort of future goal would be. I know Bellator has a kickboxing brand, and you've beaten some top-level competition in kickboxing in the past, but also you've indicated an interest to either go to light heavyweight or heavyweight. So do you have a preference in terms of maybe moving up in weight division or, competing in Bellator's kickboxing? Do you have a preference between either?
Well, my goal was first to win the middleweight belt, and if that happens, after that, everything is open. I think fight Rory McDonald. Before I dream on further.
Sorry, did you say you wanted to fight Fedor?
No. Rory McDonald. But like I said, first this fight.
Exactly. Got to focus on that for sure. And thanks for the time, and thanks for taking my call, everyone.
No problem.
Our next question comes from Ty O'Keefe with Fan-Sided MMA. Your line is live.
Hey, guys. My first question is for Gegard Mousasi. Obviously, you had a tougher fight than a lot of folks expected in your Bellator debut. Did that result, change the way you're preparing for this fight?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Wow. Oh, okay. How? How did it change it?
The way I fought in the third round. Obviously, the eye injury changed a lot of things in the first minute, but it's a title fight, so it's I stepped up. I'm in best shape that I can be, so I'm ready.
All right, thanks. My next question is for Roy Nelson. Obviously, you've been around this for a long time. You're a fan favorite. And, you wouldn't have a problem catching on anywhere. Do you see yourself fighting for a lot longer, or is this something that you're gonna just see how it goes, or what?
What do you mean, see how it goes? See how this fight goes, or
take it by year? Take it, whether you're intrigued by certain opponents or not, things like that.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely intrigued by certain opponents. We still have Chuck Liddell. He's getting ready to fight. What is he, 47? So I think I have a lot more years left. Same thing with Mirko. I think us heavyweights, we definitely still have the power, and we could do this until we're 50.
All right, I appreciate that. My last question is for the middleweight champion. I was wondering, obviously you have never lost a fight in Bellator, yet a lot of this hype is on Mousasi. Do you feel like you're being overlooked?
Hello there. Could you repeat your question, please?
Yeah, no problem. Obviously, despite the fact that he's never lost in Bellator, does he feel like he's being overlooked in this title fight against Mousasi?
Não, acredito que não esteja sendo muito visto para essa luta, não. Acho que o centro das atenções é o Mousasi. Então, quem vai ter que mostrar serviço para tentar tirar o cinturão vai ter que ser ele. Então, isso para mim é até bom, porque a responsabilidade cai toda em cima dele. Então, quem tem que mostrar serviço é ele, não eu.
I believe all the responsibility now turns into Mousasi, because he needs to show the way he fights, and all the attention will be turned to him. So I'm very I even don't know how to express it. Everything's very fine for me, and I'm not worried.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
Our next question is from Rodney James Edgar. Your line is live.
Rodney James here for MMASoldier.net. First question is for Big Country Roy Nelson. Earlier in the call, someone asked Cro Cop about the implications of your fight being an alternate bout for the Grand Prix. He said, he didn't seem all that interested in those implications so much as just focusing on the fight itself. But we didn't get your thoughts on that. You had an opportunity, obviously, in the Grand Prix, but now you might get an opportunity for redemption to get back in there. What do you have to say about that?
No, anytime you can get back into title contention is always nice, but I just wanted, to get through Mirko, and then if I get a chance to, fight Matt Mitrione again, that's pretty much where I'm kind of looking, and then whoever has the belt. Those are my two agendas.
Where have you been preparing your fight camp for this fight? Who have you been working with? I've been working with lots of different guys, all the way from Mayweather's to, Extreme Couture's, to Travis Brown, to Francis, to Bagoya. Everybody that's, comes through Vegas at the heavyweight, I'm definitely working with. Nice. And last question for Big Country. You had mentioned earlier that, Cro Cop has improved over the years, and he is on an 8-fight win streak. In what ways have you seen that he's improved specifically?
I think the one thing that he's definitely improved on is just his, tenacity. He's going in and knocking everybody out. He's beating people up in the first round, so he's just going out there to, he's bringing back that old school fighter where we actually go out there and try to finish fights. I think that's the biggest thing that I've seen is he just goes out there and he just finishes fights.
Our next question on the line comes from Wade Eck with MMA H.E.A.T.
For me, I think it was the Grand Prix was just to get people interested in the heavyweight division. If I have to, fight Cro Cop and then after Cro Cop fights Congo to get to the title fight, like that, I'm all for it. I know Chet Congo's done, really well for himself the last, couple, I think like 5 or 6 fights. So he definitely deserves a shot at the title, but at the same time, who's he been fighting? And I think it's because all he does is it hasn't been exciting. I think his last fight was only finished in like the last 5 or 6 years or something like that.
Our next question comes from Steven Maracca with MMA Junkie.
Hey, question for Gegard. Just wanted to check in. How's your eye doing these days?
Eye is good. The commission approved. My doctors got me approved by the commission, so it's all good. I don't have any problem with it. So, I'm no problem about that. Thank God.
Do you still have the difference in shape? Is there any other changes that are as a result?
Well, the eye is not at the place where it should be, but I can fix that. But that's just appearance. My maybe after my career if I want to be a model. But so far, we don't need that. And the model thing was a joke, of course.
Yeah, I realize. Do you think about it in training?
No. It's a trauma when you get injured, but you're over an injury when you're not thinking about it. And I'm not thinking about the eye, so I know I'm over it and I'm ready to go.
And what's your timeline? If you can write your own script, what's your timeline for facing Rory?
Well, I don't know. I need to win this fight before I even think about that one. But yeah, it's in the plannings. If I win and if Rory wants to come up, yeah, Rory is a big name. He's a good fighter, and people want to see that fight. But like I said, I need to win the belt first before I think about that.
Would you want to defend both belts at the same time, or would you want to just focus on one reign at a time, holding one title at a time?
Well, if I go light heavyweight, it would be just for one fight. I'm not a light heavyweight. I would give a lot of advantage to the light heavyweight guys. But if I go to light heavyweight and they give me a title shot, yeah, I will take it. But it's not my goal to be the light heavyweight champion for a long time.
So it isn't something where you'd want to defend both belts?
No, it would. I'm not. It's gonna be difficult to yo-yo in weights, up and down. Dan Henderson did it, but I think it can be done. But I would say it's more difficult for me than I would rather stay one weight.
Gotcha. And a question for everyone, and I'll start with you, Gegard. What did you think of Fedor's fight with Mir? Did you look at the performance and go, this guy's back?
Yeah, Fedor did well. Mir, they're not in their primes, but I think it was entertaining fights, and yeah, people love to watch Fedor still, so it's good.
Rafael?
Hi.
Same question for you. Like, what did you think of Fedor's fight?
What fight?
Can you repeat, please?
Did when he watched Fedor's fight, did he think Fedor is back?
Quando você assistiu o
Eu acho que ele já voltou, acho que a velha forma dele, né? Era uma luta que todo mundo estava esperando para ver como que o Fedor iria se sair, né? E, no meu ponto de vista, ele saiu muito bem, né? Ao retorno dele ao cage do Bellator.
I believe he's in his old shape again, and he's great. He's fighting a lot, and everybody was looking for it, and now he's back. He's great. I just believe he's great.
And Cro Cop, you're obviously a guy who knows him pretty well. What did you think? Did you think he's back?
Well, it was good fight, Friday. It was. If he's back or not, I don't know, but it was too short. Fight was too short, but good for him.
And Roy, what were your thoughts?
My thoughts were it's a heavyweight fight. Anything can happen. That's the one thing about the heavyweights is you have to watch every second of the fight.
Who do you think's going to win that tournament?
Actually, I really don't know. Right now it's up for grabs. So hopefully someone gets hurt and myself after I beat Cro Cop, and then that's the way I look at it is I really don't really care for the heavyweights right now until I get past Mirko, and then from there is when we kind of go forward.
But that's not going to happen.
did hearing that Mirko was going to be drug tested prior to the fight make you feel more confident about facing him on a level playing field, Roy?
No, because we get tested all the time, and then 10 weeks or 11 weeks out doesn't really make a difference from the fight.
Our next question on the line comes from Dan Rout with Fight Hub TV.
Hey, Big Country, what's up? This is Dan from the Y Crew Gym in Boston. Cro Cop is not a guy who's typically known for his hand strike, and of course it's that big left head kick that made him famous. But he did get you in a collar tie and almost a full clinch and lay some serious hands on you in your first win over him. Talk to us about his power, his hands, what that felt like.
You know, he's a heavyweight, so he definitely punches. If you noticed all his fights, the last, I think all his like 7 wins in a row, I think they're all from punches, not from head kicks. So I think everybody, if you don't actually watch MMA, you would know he actually head kicks and he actually punches people.
Without getting too much into the game plan, are you planning to change things up technically for your second bout?
I think I'm going to try to work on my head kicks. So then, yes.
All right, everybody. I wanted to end the call on that note. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to call in. Again, Bellator 200 takes place next week, May 25th, from the SSE Arena Wembley in London. You can tune in and watch the fight on the Paramount Network in America at 9 p.m. Eastern. And again, thank you for calling in. Have a great day.
This concludes today's call. You may now disconnect your lines.